Ethan on Everything said something a couple of weeks ago that I actually disagreed with. He said,
gameplay is way more important than story. I have no clue how this is even a remote hot take. Gameplay will always be the most important metric by which we judge a game.
and I actually wanted to argue back, but when I sat down with it, and he's actually right, and the numbers prove it. So let's talk about why every game company is scrambling to figure this out.
The dead are crowned, yes, indeed. And in this land, what do we have here?
Look, I know that this causes all story versus gameplay, but Ethan's take wasn't nuanced. He was straight up saying gameplay wins, no asterisks, no well, it depends. And my first instinct was to push back because I thought of The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 has some of the best writing in gaming. Like genuinely, that game is a masterpiece of storytelling. But here's the thing, and this is where it gets uncomfortable for the story first crowd. Me included, because that is my stance most of the time, and as I say most of the time in my videos, please watch all of them. I love the exploration of this new world where play in them feel like I go isekai in there most of the time. Back to the point, the combat in Witcher 3 doesn't hold up at all. You are dodging, you are rolling, you are spamming Quen, and it feels fine. It's not bad, but it's not compelling. It's serviceable. And if story alone was enough to carry a game to the heights that Witcher 3 reached, then the combat wouldn't matter. But we all know it does. We all feel it when the combat is bad, even in a good story. After a few hours in The Witcher 3, you start to feel annoyed and think, where the hell is Ciri? So that I can end this shit, man. And if it wasn't for the side quests in Witcher 3, which is the best part of the games, like make the whole world feels lived in. Till today, I still remember Marlene's story, intertwining with the Gonta Odim, the stranger whom she denied hospitality, and then she goes cast. She became like a spotted white actually. And the game actually doesn't tell you that Gonta Odim it involves, but during the quest line, at some point you hear the tune of the song which the kids were singing at the crossroad in the Heart of Stone DLC.
For the old customs, she drove the man off, saying she'd rather feed the leftovers from her feast to her dogs than to give the beggar anything. The beggar then broke his spoon, cast a curse. She was beautiful, so he said she'd never wish to look at herself in the mirror again. Since she adored feasts, he swore no one would ever wish to sit and dine with her. And as she even refused him the crumbs from her table, he swore she'd never find a spoon in the world that would sate her hunger.
A harsh punishment. I imagine lifting the curse was hardly simple.
I could really go on about Witcher 3 and continue pointing out subtle details, and the video will be an hour long. So let's look at the sales. Crimson Desert hit 5 million copies in less than a month. Elden Ring is sitting at over 30 million since its release. Sekiro, vague story, like most of the time I had to watch Vatividia to get anything. I mean, FromSoftware, you made that man rich. I mean, Sekiro, amazing combat, 10 million copies. And you know what these games have in common? Tight, responsive, skill-based gameplay that makes you feel something when you land a power or dodge through an attack. That's not accidental, that's not a bonus feature. Players are voting with their wallets and they're saying gameplay matters more. Compare that to The Last of Us, which is story first, cinematic focus, great narrative, sure. But how many copies, and more importantly, how many people actually finished it? Versus how many people are still playing Sekiro or Elden Ring in 2026? The engagement numbers tell a different story than the marketing does. Let's zoom in on Witcher 3 specifically because it's the perfect case study. The writing is top tier, the side quests have character depth, choices, and that matter. But the combat is meh. I mean, look, I love that game, but the combat is the weakest part of the experience, and yet people still play this, still love this. So, does that prove story carries the game? No. It proves that good writing can supplement weak combat, but it doesn't elevate it. It just makes you forgive it. Now, flip to Sekiro. The story is cryptic, it's sparse. You are not getting Witcher 3 dialogue trees or cinematic moments, but the combat is so precise, so rewarding that you feel the narrative through the gameplay. Every parry is a story beat. Just from saying that alone, I remember Genichiro and how he taught me to play the game since he's actually the gatekeeper for the Act 2 of the game. Every counter is character development. FromSoftware really understood something that story-first games don't. You can tell a story through mechanics. Here's what changed. Games like The Last of Us and other story-heavy titles from the PlayStation era got obsessed with cutscenes. 20-minute cutscenes sometimes. I mean, really, that's like a mini documentary. You're literally watching a movie, not playing a game. And yeah, some people love that, but the market is rejecting it. Why? Because it's not interactive. It's not engaging in the way gameplay is. With Last of Us, I never got past the introduction scene, man. Till today, I haven't played it, yet contrast that to Elden Ring. After ascending the elevator, and what must vary saying you have no bitches.
Come to the lands between for the Elden Ring? Hmm? Of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless.
The next cutscene is until you reach Morgoth.
Foul tarnished. In search of the Elden Ring. Emboldened by the flame of ambition.
Unless you got yourself in Caelid.
Welcome to Caelid. It's basically made of German bedtime stories. Who can forget such legendary tales as Der Vogel, Der Backpfeifengesicht, and most terrifying of all, Das Kinder.
Good luck with that breakthrough. Elden Ring has way fewer cinematics than most AAA games. Shadow of the Erdtree, the DLC, is the same thing. Minimal cutscenes, maximum gameplay. And Elden Ring has also pretty much everything else this generation. That's not luck, that's a signal. And when FromSoftware does tell a story, it's through the world, through environment storytelling, through how a boss moves, how Malenia's entire character is communicated through her moveset. You fight her and you understand her, you feel her perfection, her obsession, her rejection. That's storytelling through gameplay, and it's infinitely more powerful than a cutscene.
I am Malenia, Blade of Mikola. And I have never known defeat.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Malenia, we know who you are. Crimson Desert.
What the fuck is that? Oh no. Oh god.
Wrong desert. Crimson Desert gets these two. You can use the environment to win fights. I mean, there's that hack which players found out where you use the beast to melt down that boss. Yeah, you can burn down a building, use a pillar to strike a boss, and that's not just mechanics. That's the game saying your creativity is part of the story. You are not following a predetermined narrative path. You're writing it on your own. Compare that to the speed running glitch where people take a bad hero item and completely trivialize a boss. Is that a broken mechanic? Sure, but it's also a player generated story. Asmongold is by far very good at making game trivial, since he most likely won't follow any instruction the game provides. Most of the time he just ignores the predetermined path and he just does his thing. I mean, that moment, that discovery when you go out of the predetermined path, that wait you can do that, that's memorable than most cutscenes because the player ended, the player created it. Now, The Last of Us, other Sony cinematic team, they lock you into a narrative path. You can't break it, you can't interpret it differently. You watch it and there's value in that, I guess. But it's passive, it's not engaging in a way like a Souls games like is engaging. Here's the thing that keeps coming back to me, playing through a difficult Elden Ring boss and finally landing that perfect dodge roll, that counter, that critical hit. That feeling is end. You struggle, you learn the moveset, you adapt it, and when you win, it's yours. Elden Ring does this well. Sometimes you jump into a random hole, then get a cutscene. That feeling of I end this is genuine. That's why cutscenes in FromSoftware games are as important as the gameplay itself. Watching a cutscene in The Last of Us, no matter how well written, is not earned. It's given to you. You didn't do anything. You watched something, and psychologically, neurologically, your brain doesn't register the same way. Dopamine hit from earning something is different from dopamine hit from watching something. And that's why Elden Ring players are still grinding, still discovering, still talking about it months and months after release, because the gameplay loop is tight. The reward cycle is constant. Every encounter teaches you something. Every death means something because it teaches you something. The Last of Us, you finish the story, you are done. You might replay it for the narrative, but that's it. You have consumed the product, you are not engaged with it anymore. And honestly, Sony's been betting on the cinematic experience for years. It's their whole strategy, big budget, movie-like presentation, linear narrative. And they're losing. Not financially, I guess. Betting is trivial when you got that infinite money glitch, The games still sell. But culturally, the conversation isn't there anymore. Nobody's talking about the new Naughty Dog game the way people talk about Elden Ring or Crimson Desert. If you hear about that Naughty Dog game with the bow chick, that has been promoted for a couple of years, most of the time it's just ridicule. Because one is interactive and rewards you for engagement, the other asks you to sit back and consume. Gaming is the only medium where you can make interaction the core of the experience. Every other medium is consumption based, so why would gaming try to be a movie that's fighting against the medium itself? Hideo Kojima, spare us from your long ass cutscenes and walking simulators. Just go work in Hollywood or something. We don't want another Sony guy. So yeah, Ethan on everything was right. Gameplay is winning, not because story doesn't matter. It matters, but it matters when it's integrated in the gameplay. When it's expressed through mechanics and world design and moment-to-moment player agency. Not when it's a cutscene interrupting your ability to actually play the game. And the numbers back that up. The most successful games of this generation are gameplay first, story second. Companies that haven't figured it out yet are scrambling because players have figured it out. They want to do something, not watch something. The question isn't story versus gameplay anymore. It's, are you going to respect the player agency and design your story around interaction? Or are you going to treat the player like a passive audience? And the market's already answered that. If you disagree in the comment, tell me I'm wrong. Sub if you want more of these and hit up my Twitch. By the end of this year, I want to reach 100k sub. Stay unseasoned. We out.